played where everybody was on the chair, everybody had, going to my mind's going blank now. What's happening? What, I can't remember. I'm going to lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. Last night on the television, I was on a telephone, rapidly rising, and with I don't know. COVID has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's lives reflected in the NHEI. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foot in the forget to seize the ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. NATO's purpose is to defend against aggression. Let me make near and dear to you that you like to be able to. Anyway, my mind's going blank now. What's happening? What, I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. I don't think as the idea that the political coverage of the I want to thank and recognize Dr. John Kingerson. King Dutch song. I can't get this to function at all. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? What, I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. No idea. No idea.
Guys, this is Macil Duncan, and this is the Macil Duncan Show a little early than usual. I got some extra content for you, and we'll be going live on 96.9 here in Chattanooga, still at 3. But I came on a few minutes early because the debate's coming on tonight and wanted to make sure got all the stuff in we planned. Lots of good stuff. I don't know about you guys. I think a lot of folks are still looking for something to happen tonight, maybe good or bad. I don't know where you're at. But I think a lot of folks are having that mentality of, will this be the night? Will this be the night that we hear for sure who's going to win the presidency? Because I've got Van Jones, and I'll play it a little bit later in the show. He says he believes this is make or break for Joe Biden. He says if Joe Biden doesn't have a good showing tonight, he said this will end or extend his presidential run. Think about that. Van Jones, commentator on CNN, he's known for coming up with the phrase nothing burger, but he said this will extend or end Joe Biden's presidency. And that could be interesting to see. Now, I got a couple of articles for you, and I'll repeat this. But one being that there's a new poll out. The former president, Donald Trump, appears to have a slight edge now. This is the New York Times, the New York Times and Siena College. The survey conducted from June 20th to June 25th said that 48% of voters would choose the former president, Donald Trump, if the election were held today. And only 42% would vote for Biden. So that gives Trump a 4-point edge, but here's the kicker. 10% said they don't know or might not vote at all. Now, that's only if these two are the only candidates. Many believe Kennedy is going to be a helper to Donald Trump. That remains to be seen. I mean, we're going to have to find that out. But Donald Trump evidently leading in the polls as of the New York Times. Now, That's not normally a friend to Donald Trump. Now, some say that could just be a ploy that they're trying to get Trump, because Christians are lazy voters. Are they trying to get Christians just to kind of say, well, he's going to win anyway. My vote doesn't count, or he doesn't need my vote. Let me talk to you about that, my friend. 2 reasons why everyone should vote, even if you're in a very red county and you said, hey, Trump's going to win our county hands down. There's a thing called the national and popular vote. They love to stack that as like a second place trophy. They just went on and on how Hillary Clinton got the popular vote, but Donald Trump got the electoral college vote. And some of you might even remember all the actors, Martin Sheen and all of them came out, Clooney, trying to tell the electoral college, hey, you have the power. You don't have to vote like your constituents. You could make Hillary Clinton the president. All those things they did, and then they called Trump the election denier. That's where I think a lot of us are just seeing through a lot of the strategies of the DNC. They're very hypocritical, at least their strategic people are. The average Democratic voter, I think, are just good heart people. They just have different views and beliefs, and that's fine. That's what makes America great. But I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight, and I think we're all going to be watching, if not all part of the debate. I will be watching. But CNN has put out a warning. If you try to live stream the debate, they're going to make sure you're cut off. And if you're somebody of notoriety, they might even seek legal action against you. Well, Elon Musk has responded and said, bring it on, like Donkey Kong. He said, I'll not stop any live streams or comments from my people. But the interesting opposite of that is Instagram. Without Instagram people knowing, and I'll share the article with you, Instagram has already put in a blocking mechanism, if you will, algorithm, and it's probably going to also carry into Facebook since they're both owned by the same person. And Instagram is saying that they're going to block certain political speech. Now, that's what made that Supreme Court decision so important that went 63 for Biden and liberals. They basically said the government still can manage and have input with social media. I think that's a big mistake. I do not think government should be able to have a heavy hand in freedom of the press. Okay, that's just me. I believe in freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and the right to bear arms. Those are 3 freedoms that have slowly been eroding because you look at most of our press, do the research. Almost 90 to 95% of our media is owned by 6 very wealthy families, and they all are very progressive liberals. So if the government can lean into social media, because that's something that Elon Musk proved, my friends. You can get mad or glad about it, but when he took over Twitter, he said, hey, there were government groups that met and tried to strong arm the trends and what was acceptable, what was not acceptable. And so it made a lot of folks think, wow, does most of America believe in some of this silly stuff? Well, then what started happening when Elon Musk stood up for free speech, you have to agree, the timing. Go back and look at the timing. Shortly after that, Bud Lighting, pushing back on Mulvaney, then pushing back against Target, against Starbucks, the Major League Baseball, all of them last June dropped a big chunk of their gay pride stuff and dropped a lot of their marketing. Their websites got cleaned up and just went back to normal. And Target moved all their stuff to the back of the store pretty much. And especially, Target had all that satanic stuff for children that was really spooky. And but they left it on their online shopping, but it was out of the store. But what my point is this. When you have freedom of speech and you can voice without fear of any repercussion, then they have to tolerate that. Don't you remember the key word back when gay people were wanting to be accepted? They said tolerance. We just want tolerance. As we come out of the closet, just tolerate us. Okay. But the number one group of people that can be hated on and spoken evil of by anybody is Christians. No tolerance for Christians. They just completely label you. Think about that. It's an amazing thing there. So we're going to bring some of that up. I've got a couple of good articles. Now I'm going to wait on that one until they go live on the air. James Clapper, Mr. October Surprise, how Obama's intel czar rigged 2016 and 2020 debates against Trump. I'll share that article with you. And I think this is a rather interesting article that James Clapper, the former, one of the intel people, if you will, he also signed that the 51 intelligence agents that signed and said Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian interference, and we've now found out that was all manipulation lies. Again, media owned by the progressives, and then someone like me that's just a ham and egger. I'm just, I have 32 states, Mexico and Canada. My show gets anywhere between, with all the media and all the sites and stuff, we're looking at maybe 100,000 people that listen to my show. That's a drop in the bucket compared to these folks that have millions, right? So as you start looking at that, things like this, as I bring this today, the majority of folks won't hear this, so it's up to you, my friends. Either replay my show or get these facts out there, because the mass majority of Americans don't know these things. And it's important that you consider, being a person of truth, a truth teller, if you will. The other thing we'll talk about, Michelle Obama's secret frustration with the Biden family and why she's reluctant to campaign for Joe Biden. Why is her name popping up again right here? Interesting. Now, I think the one thing that's going to be interesting is the debate is tonight, Thursday night. Tomorrow morning, I think around 8 o'clock, if the DOJ does not comply with the congressional hearing, Merrick Garland, as there is, he's going to be found in inherent contempt, meaning the sergeant of arms can go arrest him and march him over to Congress. Now, the thing is, I don't think they can put him in jail. But it would be a perp walk. It would be bad optics. But think about me with this. And I mentioned this yesterday, and I'll be re-mentioning it. If Biden has a poor showing tonight, his dementia just kicks in. He can't cut it. Do you think they then, because the timing's everything, do you think then tomorrow morning they allow the Republicans to have that tape of Biden with her and showing his cognitive issues, not remembering his son, birthdays, etc.? That hits the waves, and Biden's done. You just got to wonder. And all of a sudden, DNC material from WikiLeaks is now missing on the internet. Julian Assange made a deal for his freedom, but it looks like part of the deal was they erased the damning stuff against a lot of the Democratic Party that was out there during 2016 and ended up helping Trump take down Hillary Clinton. So this is going to be interesting stuff. So I don't know where you guys are at. Let me remind you that Governor Lee has called for the month of July to be 30 days of fasting and prayer. He's calling for intermittent fasting. If you don't know, look up the term intermittent fasting. Is when you don't eat for 12 hours. So you might try to eat, and they say at 4 o'clock, you're not going to eat anything for 12 hours till the next morning. And spend that time, instead of having dinner that night, spend that time in prayer. But I encourage you to have some kind of prayer plan for July. This nation needs prayer desperately. And so if you keep that in mind. Also, my book, Move Your Mountains, Learn the Journey of Faith by Macil Duncan. You can buy it online at Amazon, most of your places that you have your online shopping. So if you keep that in mind, I'd appreciate that. And also maybe give me a kind review. So we'll see what happens. We're about to go live on air at the usaheartbeat.com, streetlevelamerica.com, and DestinyLifeMedia.com, which is 96.9 FM. And so we appreciate that. I'll be in 32 states. And here we come. You hear the theme. Just want to bring in the live audience of 96.9 FM here in Chattanooga. I went on a little early today on the MacilDuncanRadio.com on my Rumble accounts and the Facebook, just to give a little extra information, because the debate tonight is going to be very, very intriguing. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be entertaining. I think a lot of folks have kind of high expectations on both sides. Did you know in Vegas, you can bet on how many times Joe Biden will mumble, how many times he will have gaffes. There's all these things. You can go to Vegas and bet how many times these crazy things. That's never, ever been on a presidential debate before. This is history on so many levels. And I think a lot of folks are kind of gearing up for it, and they don't know maybe what to expect. But I think it's time to consider this.
Let's get ready to rumble!
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to.
Y'all ready for this?
Anyway, from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put the idea that for two reasons. One, we haven't been able to communicate it in a way that is, let me say another way. But the nature, not a solid meeting they make a very good point. Here's the deal.
Y'all ready for this?
Here's what drives the driver in the states that are affected. Here's what you can do, the drivers. Los Angeles and what am I doing here?
So that's entitled "Let's Get Ready to Mumble." Mumble. You can go on YouTube, watch it. It's got the actual footage of him mumbling. It's not AI. Believe me, it's not AI. It is for real. But as you see, his mind deteriorating, stumbling, can't get upstairs and off stage. Some claiming he's filling his depends in public. It's going to be very interesting between now and November. These two debates. Now, I told you Vance Jones believes this debate is going to be the one that pretty much determines if he's given another chance. He pretty much says this will either extend him or end him. And here is Van Jones from CNN News. I've played this a couple of times this week, but I just think this is a liberal commentator. Now, Van Jones is the one that came up with the term nothing burger. Do you guys remember that? Here is Mr. Nothing Burger himself, and very, very respected. Even conservatives respect Van Jones because he tends to tell the truth. He leans left for sure. But this is reasons why I kind of like Van Jones, because he's not going to try to lie for Joe.
And Van, how big of a moment is this for the president?
This is the entire election as far as I'm concerned. The entire world will be watching. If you are a carbon-based life form, you're going to be watching. If you've got a functioning brainstem, you're going to be watching. Because if Biden goes out there and messes up, it's game over. If he walks out there and a week later he's lower in the polls, it's panic in the party. But if he goes in there and he can handle himself against Donald Trump, a runaway train, a locomotive, a raging bull, then this guy deserves another shot to be president, because that is tough. You couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. If you can stand toe-to-toe with a runaway train like Donald Trump for an hour and a half, you are fit to be president, period, point blank. This is the whole presidency in a bottle in a week. If you can stand toe-to-toe with a...
Let's get ready to...
It said, let's get ready to, and it shows Biden falling at the military that we've all seen 100 times. I don't know where you're at, my friends. Now, some of you have told me that, hey, it's not that I like Biden, but I just can't stand Trump. You know, for some reason, he rubs you the wrong way. And I understand that. Let me explain it this way. When I was a big Peyton Manning fan back in Tennessee, go Vols. I'm a Vol fan. And when he went to Indianapolis, I cheered for Peyton Manning no matter what. When I was pastoring 2 churches before this one, and I would rearrange my deacons meetings. If he played at 4 kickoff, I would talk to guys and, hey, can we meet at 6 or somewhere? If the kickoff was later, we'd scoot. I used my powers as a pastor to make sure I didn't miss Peyton Manning. My wife even called herself a football widow, because I would try to watch if there was games on Sunday, the Sunday night special, the Monday night football, and then when Thursday night came in, I used to watch all that. When they took a knee, I said, forget you. But I remember whoever was mean to Peyton, I didn't like him. And at the time, they built up the Tom Brady, kind of like the Angel Reese and the Caitlin Clark. So I couldn't stand Tom Brady. I thought Tom Brady, I couldn't stand him. And those Patriots. And how they cheated at that Super Bowl, the tuck rule and the boy, and then he had the deflate gate. I was bought in all that stuff against Brady until he went to Tampa and he won in Tampa. And I'd say, okay, he's better than Peyton. I know a Vol fan out there right now is grabbing your heart, putting a nitro pill under the tongue, but I'm just being honest. Tom Brady is the best of all time. And that's coming from a Vol fan. I've got autographed pictures of Peyton Manning and Fulmer up on top here back when we had season tickets. So I'm telling you, for me to say that is painful. But I've had several folks that voted for Biden in 2020 that told me they can't vote for him in 2024. They've had the reality hit that Donald Trump is a better president. He's a better leader. He really has better character, even though they've tried to demolish it. I remember sitting on the front porch of this one senior lady that said, hey, could you come over and talk to me? I said, surely. And just went on and on about Donald Trump. She thought Donald Trump's character and the Billy Bush tape about them talking, which was supposed to be a private conversation. So I just asked 3 things. 1, have you ever had a private conversation you hope to God never gets released to the public? We've all said stupid stuff. Secondly, are you telling me Joe Biden is more moral than Donald Trump? Yeah, Donald Trump's been divorced. He was a playboy. He probably slept with Stormy Daniels. I'm not voting for a pastor. I'm voting for a president. But you think that Joe Biden has better morals and led a more moral life? If that's what you're voting on, is moral values, come on. And then the third thing, I just had to say, what has Joe Biden done in 47 years up to that time that was an accomplishment in Washington that is worthy of your vote? Please tell me one thing he did. She kind of stood there and couldn't come up with one. I said, you pray about it. So bottom line is, some people sometimes you just don't like somebody. And that's sad. You're making a judgment about somebody. You don't even shake their hand, don't even know who they are. You'll judge somebody based on maybe skin color or some outward facade or something about them before you even get to know them. And that's what's sad that's happening in our country. But that's what the media is doing with you, with I think Donald Trump. You're before he ran for president, they loved him. Look at all the movies and all the music videos. He was sought after all the time to do cameos. NAACP gave him awards. Yeah, he's not a racist. He just was a typical rich playboy that did some stupid stuff when he was younger. Not excusing it. But I am saying this, and when it comes time to vote this time, this is where all the marbles are on the line. Okay, Trump had 4 years, Biden's had 4 years. Bottom line is this. My checking account is empty under Biden, and when Trump was in office, tax breaks, economy better, finances were much better under Trump. Gas prices, grocery prices. You with me? Some of you are going to have to hold your nose and vote for Trump, and you won't tell a soul, but you know it's the right vote based on those two choices. Now, some may do a protest vote and vote for Kennedy, Jill Stein, or one of the others that you know doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning, but at least you didn't vote for Trump. Fine. Vote for one of them. But bottom line is just vote. That's my hope is everybody will vote, because when you don't vote, that's not a good thing. This is Speaker of the House and what his view of the upcoming debate will be. See what you think.
Like many, I look forward to hearing Donald Trump lay out his vision for the country. It's a positive vision. It's a forward vision. He is excited. I talked to him, spent a lot of time with him last week down in Mar-a-Lago, and then on the phone over the weekend, and he's in a very good place. And I expect that you're going to see a sharp contrast between President Trump's positive agenda and Joe Biden's proven weakness. And I did a lot of media over the last several days, and everybody wants to know which Joe Biden's going to show up. And look, my summary is this. It doesn't matter if he drinks a whole gallon of energy drinks. He's not going to be able to match the acumen and the readiness of Donald Trump.
I think that's true. Now, you know, Donald Trump did ask for a drug test, that he would be tested, let Biden be tested. And Joe Biden says, no, his camp said, we're not doing that. And again, I've said this before. I think he's missed an opportunity. And my point is, let me go back. When he supposedly got the 81 million votes, he beat Donald Trump. If he was smart, what he should have done, said, do a recount. I want to rub it in his face. Instead, they lawyered up, and anyone that doubted the election or took issue, they tried to make them look like they were terrorists or whatever. January 6th is an example. And they went and confiscated. They started erasing voting machines, ballots stored. You know, you're supposed to keep ballots for so long. They just went missing. Why? Why not do a recount? Prove you got the 81 million, and then have a party, maybe even declare a national day of celebration, and Trump would have been humiliated. But they didn't do that. Here's the second missed opportunity. If Joe Biden has no cognitive issues, he should have agreed to the test and said, hey, let's do it, man. I'll draw blood, you draw blood, and with witnesses, and let's see if anyone's got the juice. But he said no, which again makes you go, When Joe says no, you got to wonder, do you not? Well, North Carolina just did something pretty remarkable. Check this out.
Next, with here in the WRL Live Center, following some breaking news out of the General Assembly. It concerns a referendum that could be on the ballot in November. Our NC Capitol Bureau team breaking this story a short time ago. It's an amendment that would change the wording of the state constitution to specify that non-citizens will not be allowed to vote. Non-citizens will not be allowed to vote. Non-citizens non-citizens will not be allowed to vote. Now, this is already the law, but some lawmakers think that the wording isn't clear enough. That measure now has to go to the state Senate for approval, and if it's approved by the state Senate, it will be on the ballot in November.
Shabammer, North Carolina, the Tar Heel state. This is what's Biden opening up the border has brought a plethora of concerns. You're hearing of all these rapes and killing. Another one popped up today, a 15-year-old girl that was raped and murdered by these guys in the country illegally. I think it's going to come up tonight, the debate. I'll be back.
I just wanted to share that I love the radio show that Macil does. He just tells it like it is, which is so refreshing for a media outlet. He has an easygoing and uplifting personality, and he just makes you feel like you're a friend sitting in their living room talking. He does not fall for the gaslighting of today, and he shares the truth of the matter. I love his sense of humor, and his sound effects are great, like when he whistles, cracks me up. He has so much wisdom, and his variety of guests is just awesome. I learn a lot from his show. He does his research, obviously. So I just really wanted to say thank you, Chattanooga Radio. I just love this show. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Let us not forget those who have gone before us, those who have spoken into our lives, those who have mentored us, those who have loved us, and those who have spoken great words when we needed to hear them. Well, the words aren't being spoken now, but they were in the past, and they have made an impression on our lives. We should remember those who have gone before us. That is one of the founding principles of myforevermemories.com. Website, myforevermemories.com. Join us in remembering those, and we have ways to do that. We support WVMG Radio, Destiny Life Radio, and the outreach of this radio station. And let us not forget those who have gone before us. There are so many ways to remember them. Join us in remembering them at myforevermemories.com. It is time for the Church of Jesus Christ to roar. That is one of the core principles of Metro Tabernacle Church in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Their mission is to restore the roar in the body of Christ by establishing a foundation of faith in the Word of God through the power and demonstration of His Holy Spirit. They will reclaim the original intent of God for the church through training, equipping, releasing believers, and raising up leaders who will carry the roar of the Lion of the tribe of Judah to build strong local churches. And we all need that. You can find out more information by going to their website, myroar.org. Metro Tabernacle Church is located at 2101 West Shepherd Road, the airport exit off of Highway 153 in Chattanooga. Let's roar. It is time for Christians to roar, to make a difference in the community. That is the belief of Metro Tabernacle Church and Dr. Steve Ball. They have the School of Roar. The School of Roar is hosting a summer 2024 The Prophetic. Classes open to everyone, and registration is free. Do you want to learn how to work more in the prophetic? Attend one of the class schedules. Registration deadline June 2nd. There will be a class Tuesday, June 18th at 6:30 p.m. and one again July 16th at 6:30 p.m. You can register at the website metrotab.net or myroar.org. That is myroar.org. It is time for the church to roar.
Check out these deals of the
Well, as we get ready to rock and roll, this is Macil Duncan. I am back. This is the Macil Duncan radio show, broadcast live on 96.9 FM and also on USAHeartbeat.com, StreetLevelAmerica.com, MacilDuncanRadio.com. That also takes me on Rumble, X, Locals.com, and Facebook, and a lot of other channels. We appreciate all that like and listen to the show. I don't know if you've heard this song. I kind of like it. I got some country in me. Lake Shelton. You ever heard this song?
Right outside of this one church town, there's a gold dirt road to a whole lot of nothing. Got a deed to the land, but it ain't my ground. This is God's country.
I just love that opening. It's God's country. That's so cool. Well, we're having a country, Love God and Country Day here at Appleton Baptist Church this Sunday. And if you'd like to join us, it's at 10:30 a.m. I've got former Marine Sergeant Bobby Parker that will be interviewed and sharing his story, how he overcome battles of addiction to meet Christ and now become a great father and husband. He's got 3 kids, and he and Cammie are good friends. But Bobby Parker will be a part of the service, and so will Senator Todd Gardenhire, a good friend of mine. The senator is going to come and tell us why he loves God and country. Also, District 7 Commissioner Lee Helton will be there. And so I asked some of my friends to come so, one, we can pray for them. Our desire, we're kicking off a 30-day of fasting and prayer as Governor Lee has asked it for the month of July. So this Sunday the 30th, we're going to kick off a prayer initiative and ask everyone, and I'll be sharing with you on my show throughout July, how we can pray. I was texting with Chuck Flashman this morning, and he's our congressman up in D.C., and he's a great friend, and he's a good fellow too, and very pro-life, loves the Lord. And he just said, thank you. You know, these guys put up with so much. Can you imagine being a politician, whether you're Democrat or Republican? People just come at you. There's always somebody wanting clickbait, so they want to be a jerk, so it looks like they've put the big dog, into a situation. And so anyway, let me tell you something about Senator Gardenhire. When COVID was going on, he came over to the church, and we did a Facebook Live fundraiser because we still do an annual Thanksgiving meal. We have about 300 people in the gym here in our Family Life Center, and we raise money for our food pantry that feeds thousands of people. And Senator Gardenhire came over and helped me do a virtual fundraiser, and helped me raise over $30,000. In a couple of days, and by the end of the year, it was closer to 40. So I appreciate Senator Gardenhire doing that. He also then had me come and do the opening prayer when COVID was over. I did the very first prayer in the Senate chambers in Nashville for the Senate of Tennessee, and it was a great experience. So he's a good man of faith. You're not going to agree with everything he does. Just like you won't agree with me. But anyway, if you'd like to come hear his story, hear Bobby, come to Appleton Baptist Church this Sunday, 10:30 a.m. It's going to be a God and Country Day. Wear something red, white, and blue, and we appreciate you considering that because it is God's country. Well, as we get ready to talk about this debate, I think it's going to be interesting, and I played this for you earlier, but it's kind of what it's going to be tonight.
Let's get ready to rumble!
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to.
Y'all ready for this?
Anyway.
Yep, it's going to be get ready to mumble. Many are thinking tonight. As I said, Vegas is taking bets. You can actually bet on how many times Joe will make gaffes if he falls asleep. You can bet how many times he trips up the steps or down. And never before in a history. The only other political person that the media really picked on, if you guys remember, if you're old enough, was Gerald Ford. Probably the most athletic president we've ever had. He played football for Rice University in Texas. I believe he was the center or a guard, played on the line. So tough guy. But every time he had a misstep, the media caught it. and played it over and over again to make him look like a buffoon. Now, he was the only president that was not elected. If you remember, Nixon won, and then he ran against, I can't remember who, Nixon won the second term by the largest margin of any president. Then he had the Watergate scandal, which is now a happy meal compared to the scandals today, and was forced to resign. So his VP resigned first. He picked Ford, then he resigned. Ford became president, and the deal was he pardoned Nixon and his VP. But anyway, so he wasn't an elected, and maybe that's one reason they picked on him so much. But the bottom line is they're showing a lot of gaffes of Biden. And they tried to act like, oh, that's AI, that's not for real. But yeah, it is. And I think it's going to play a part, but this even supports it more. If you go to the Gateway Pundit, Instagram accidentally changed all users' settings to limit political content ahead of the debate tonight. Instagram has announced that it accidentally changed users' default settings to limit political content ahead of Thursday's presidential debate. The change applies to all users, even if you have previously turned the settings off. CNN will be hosting the first presidential debate Thursday night, June 27th in Atlanta, Georgia. Jake Tapper and Dana Bash will be moderating. So isn't that interesting that they accidentally turned off that setting? Now, Facebook is connected to Instagram, so you know that they're doing that. Now, the election's not far out. I've not had any problems with Facebook probably in a good 2 years. But in these last 3 weeks, they just stopped me from sharing my show again today. They've just come out with a plethora. That's why I went to Rumble. If you get a chance, go to the Rumble channel, MacilDuncan.com. Plus, on the Rumble channel and X, I give extras after the show or before the show. I give extra tips, extra thoughts. I'll give you something a little extra. There's no fee. It's just something maybe to encourage you. But the point is, Facebook and Instagram, they're not our friends. I think we all know that. But the sad thing is they get away, and then the federal government just got protected by the Supreme Court. In a 6-3 decision, they just said that the government can strong arm or have an input, if you will, into social media. I think that's a big mistake. I believe in freedom of the press, freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, and freedom means freedom. It doesn't mean Big Brother's hand tilting the scale. That's just me. You may disagree, but I really think Big Brother should be kicked out. No surprise to me, anyone out there in Georgia. Georgia is one of our biggest listening fan base on Street Level America. We got several thousand that listen in Georgia. So listen up, Georgia fans. You're going to love this. Rhino Governor Kemp just admitted he did not vote for anyone in the Republican Party during the primary. He hates Trump that much. So he wouldn't vote for Trump, but he wouldn't vote for any of the others, so no one would find out. So Kemp is got to go. But speaking of the Georgia primary, did you vote? Who did you vote for? Collins asked Kemp in the CNN's interview with him, and Kemp replied, "In the Georgia primary, I didn't vote for anybody. I voted, but I didn't vote for anybody. I mean, the race was already over when the primary got here. But you didn't vote for Donald Trump?" Collins bowed up. Kemp said, "As I said, I didn't vote for anybody." Collins asked, "Why not?" And Governor Kemp says, "Because the race was over." So then the ultra-liberal CNN talking head responded, "Wow, that's pretty interesting." So all you did was give more negativity. Kemp is not our friend. And what's interesting is Donald Trump helped save his bacon when he first ran against Stacey Abrams. And I've brought this up before, which I think is very amazing, that Stacey Abrams refused to concede. She feels like they stole the election. in such a way she still today refuses to admit Kemp won. But you've got to admit, some deal must have been made, because Kemp has not been a friend to Donald Trump since he helped him win that election. And not only that, and with all the Rafflesberger and all the phone call and all the heartburn and the Fannie Wanny and Wade stuff, he's not stepped in at once at all to try to help Trump through those legal woes like the Democrats would have done for their guy. Kemp's not our friend, but the interesting thing is Stacey Abrams got asked to do the rebuttal when Donald Trump did his first address to the nation. Do you remember this? It was Stacey Abrams that got asked to do the Democrats' response. She's never won an election, right? She's not, to my knowledge, not one Miss Potato Head, nothing. But she was allowed to give the response for the Democratic Party after Donald Trump's first major speech address to the nation. So there's deals made, my friend. I think we all know that. And that brings me to my next story here that I think you guys are going to find interesting. In fact, you might want to go read for yourself in the Gateway Pundit. James the Clapper, Mr. October Surprise, how Obama's intel czar rigged 2016 and 2020 debates against Donald Trump. Just before Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton faced off in their second presidential debate, the then National Intelligence Director, James the Clapper, met in the White House. And I hate to tell you, in high school, he got teased with that last name. Anyway, I'll digress. But James the Clapper in the White House with a small group of advisors to President Obama to hatch a plan to put out a first-of-its-kind intelligence, meaning they've never done it this way before. Okay? The first-of-its-kind intelligence report warning the voting public that the Russian government was interfering in elections by allegedly breaching the Clintons' campaign email system. October 7, 2016. Just 2 days before the presidential debate between Trump and Clinton, Clapper issued an unprecedented intelligence advisory report with Obama's personal blessing. It seemed to lend credence to what the Clinton camp was telling the media, that Trump was working as a Russian asset, which they also said about Tulsi Gabbard. Anyone that doesn't agree with the Democrats and the progressives, they label you a Russian asset. That's that old Cold War mentality. So the Trump was working with President Vladimir Putin from Russia through a secret back channel to steal the election. Sure enough, the Democrat nominee pounced on it to smear Trump in the debate and tried to make something stick, if you guys remember that. And it wouldn't be the only historical consequential maneuver that Clapper did in 2020. He was the lead signature of the intelligence statement that discredited the New York Post October bombshell exposing the emails of Hunter Biden's laptop. It was Clapper that got the other 50 signatures, remember there's 51 in all, to sign and say that this was Russian interference. And one of the 51 signatures happens to be Susan, is her name Bash or Nash, whatever, one of the moderators tonight. Her ex-husband, I should say, was one of the signers of that. He is a CIA executive. All right? CIA, CNN. All right. So just 3 days before the Trump and Biden debate in Nashville, and 50 other U.S. intelligence community officials and experts signed a 7-page document which claimed the arrival of the U.S. political scene of emails perpetrated belonging to Vice President Biden's son Hunter. Much of it related to his time serving on the board of the Ukraine gas company Burisma, etc., etc. So this is an interesting read. I won't read it all to you because it's kind of boring to hear someone read something. Let me jump down. The FBI director, James Comey, had also met in the Situation Room in early October to discuss the plan, but Comey balked at accusing Russia's senior-most officials of authorizing the alleged attack of the Clinton campaign and trying to interfere in U.S. election process. As the 2-page document claimed very conspicuous, the FBI did not sign on to the intelligence at that time. Still, Clapper implied in his statement that this was the finding of the entire U.S. intelligence community and etc. As you guys know, the Russia. And, of course, we found out later in a federal court that Hillary Clinton paid for the dossier. And you got to ask yourself, if this had been a Republican, they would be in Sing Sing. I think they would be in Alcatraz. They'd be in prison. Look what they're doing to Peter Navarro. He's spending time just because he wouldn't adhere to Nancy Pelosi. You know, fancy Nancy, you can say what you want, but she's a tough chick. Okay, Mike Johnson, he needs to, I don't know, he needs to go get him some of that Tony the Tiger cereal and show him he's great, because he is not being very great lately. And now we're about to see Steve Bannon hauled off to prison for 4 months. Very convenient, though, one of the most influential conservative voices to be jailed. It'll take him right up to the election. He'll be muted July, August, September, October. You know, the vote, the official day of voting is November 5th. So he'll get to get out and maybe comment on the voting, but they're taking out voices. They're taking out people, either literally or through subpoenas, etc., trying to mute anyone's ability to go against their narrative. I hope you find that and can see that, my friends. Michelle Obama, secret frustration with the Biden family and why she is reluctant to campaign for Joe Biden. This is an interesting article. Michelle, some call Big Mike, is reluctant to campaign for Joe Biden because the way the Biden family treated Hunter Biden's first wife, Kathleen Buell. Are you kidding me? She's going that angle. According to Axios, Michelle Obama became close with Kathleen Buell years ago, and she didn't appreciate the way the Biden family treated her during Hunter's nasty divorce. Michelle Obama will be spending this campaign season working with a voter registration group. Baraki, which is also Barry Soetoro, it's his legal name. He changed it to Barack Hussein Obama when he converted to Muslim. But he told us he was a Christian in 2000 and when he ran for, anyway. Okay, Barry recently headlined a ritzy Hollywood fundraiser with Joe Biden, but Michelle Obama did not attend. Anyway, interesting stuff there. They brained her name up right here before the debate. And I just think they want to have the option, and they're probably seeing how well she fears. And what they do sometimes, and be careful when you're using your social media, when you like and share things, those clicks get tabulated. And like Caitlin Clark, you know, I think she's the best player in the WNBA right now for multiple reasons. One, I mean, with all the pressure on her, and she still can double digit and score, rebounds, and do all the assists. That's a tough mind for a 22-year-old lady to basically take on the hate that she's getting and still perform like she is. Can you imagine what she's going to be like in 2 or 3 years when she settles in and becomes the beast of the WNBA? She's going to be a monster, as she put in the text. But with that said, there's a lot of people, I think, that see, Caitlin Clark, or maybe some of you may say someone else is the better person. But the pressure that they're all under, where I'm going to just go real quick, I don't see Biden handling pressure right now. You know, Donald Trump would do press conferences. He would just walk out on the cuff out to the parking lot there, or the driveway, if you will, of the White House. Or he'd walk out and just take ad hoc questions, and they would just mob him. Biden has to get the questions in advance, in writing. He has to read them slowly. And if you ask a rebuttal or follow-up question, he gets mad at you. Have you ever noticed? Look how many press conferences Biden's done. Not many. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Well, here's a health tip for you. The FDA issues a warning for over 300 canned coffee brands due to fatal poisoning risk. Wow, this gets you excited. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and I always have to say this, say that real slow with me, Food and Drug Administration. Whose bright idea was it to put food and drug in the same organization? You wonder why your food's got all that jacked up stuff in it? Because food and drugs are in the same association. Someone should change that. But the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has announced close to 300 types of canned coffee brands are being recalled due to having links to a fatal type of food poisoning. So I thought this was interesting. Snap Chill, it's got an LLC in Wisconsin, voluntarily initiated the recall after discovering that its manufacturing process could lead to the growth of production of deadly toxins in low-acid canned foods. Anyway, it's an interesting article. If you're a big coffee drinker, you might want to go to the Gateway Pundit, look it up. And it says a coffee recall alert. I don't see the names of the products listed. Oh, there it is. Very small print. I'm looking for Dunkin' Donut. As long as Dunkin' Donut, I'm good. That's my brand. Yeah, I don't see Dunkin' Donuts. So if you drink Dunkin' Donut like me, we're good. We're good. All right. How we doing on the break? Got some time. Other things are happening in the country. Let me see. This is someone going around asking people who they think will win the debate tonight. It's interesting. See what you think of some. This is on the street, by the way. Street Level America, Dave Adams does this all the time, too. But this is not Dave. This is another guy like Dave Adams.
Me personally, I think Trump is going to do better than Biden, but it could go honestly either way.
As long as he ain't using our taxpayers to go give it to them folks in Ukraine, man, we Gucci.
If you could ask Joe Biden or Donald Trump one question, what would it be?
What would it be?
We're here outside the first presidential debate of 2024 between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and why so?
Because that's the security measure that's put out by the Secret Service. So if you get
okay, no.
So these guys are out in front of the CNN presidential debate headquarters, and security comes and kicks them out. So let's scoot on down, catch some of these conversations.
And who do you think is going to win the debate, Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
Donald Trump.
And why so?
Joe Biden is there present. He's present in the flesh, but he's not all the way there.
Do you think Joe Biden's going to have to be medicated in order to withstand the debate?
Even with medication, he's not really that coherent. So I just think he's going to be there smiling like he always is.
What could Joe Biden say or Donald Trump do to win the vote of the people here in America?
To be honest, there's nothing either one of them could say, because hands down, I pretty much think Donald Trump has already got America behind him, because Joe Biden really hasn't been doing much within the last 4 years.
If you could ask Joe Biden one question, what would your question be?
Why are you running again?
And what do you think you'd say?
He'd stand there and smile until somebody walks him off stage.
Who do you think is going to win the debate tonight, Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Trump.
Why so?
Because Joe Biden can't talk like a human being, and he has dementia.
We've never had a debate so early in American history. Why do you think they're having the debate so early?
That's actually a solid question. Not really sure why. You could go conspiracy theory on a lot of that, but like officially, that's a really interesting question. I would have no idea. Like I said, I can go conspiracy theory with it.
Conspiracy theory, what would it be?
So they're looking for an October surprise, like a real one. More so the Dems to Trump. So my thought would be is, since he's already quote unquote been convicted of a felony 35 times, what else can they do outside of possible actual imprisonment and an actual assassination? So do it early. Or the Democrats have an October surprise in the sense that maybe they're going to try to move Joe Biden out and move Kamala in using the 24th Amendment. That's also a theory that I've had. Other than that, yeah, that's about what I mean by conspiracy theory. It could go really dangerous or a really interesting October surprise.
Now, these are guys on the street, and I'm just telling you, this guy, he that just gave it these theories, he's got a Vote for Democracy T-shirt on and his ball cap on backwards. He's had a few donuts, but bottom line is, these are people on the street that they don't believe that Biden's got the full cognizance to withstand office. And I'd have to kind of stand with that theory. I don't know how he's going to I'm really anxious to see what happens tonight. I just don't know how he's going to stand up to the pressures of being, there with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to bring it, and you've seen what he's done to people, especially people that have been mean to him or his family. He is the ultimate of vindication. So, but anyway, House Republicans are on track to pass a spending bill that says Biden says, of course, that he will veto. See what you think.
House Republicans are on track to approve 3 government funding bills this week. Not one has a chance of becoming law because President Biden said he'd veto them.
President Biden didn't have to worry about vetoing them because they're never going to get to his desk because the Senate's not going to take any of it.
Here's what's happening. House Republicans are working to approve funding for the Homeland Security, State, and Defense Departments. The GOP is moving forward on a party line basis and included measures which would be considered poison pills for Democrats. For instance, the defense spending bill bans funds from being used for gender-affirming care. The Homeland Security bill includes $600 million for border wall construction and cuts funding to nonprofits that shelter immigrants.
We aren't going for outrageously conservative things. We're actually already having our compromise. And for Biden in an election year to veto those things when he hasn't done anything on the southern border, when he hasn't done anything in decreasing regulation, decreasing the size of government.
In addition, the bills do not follow agreements in the Fiscal Responsibility Act, the law negotiated by President Biden and then Speaker Kevin McCarthy to raise the debt ceiling.
So what's going to be interesting, are they setting up a precedent for Trump to come in and push these things forward? I don't know. But I agree. I see Biden vetoing this. I'll be back after the break.
Hey, I'm from Texas, and I love listening to your show because y'all tell truth on there. You don't water it down, and I know what I listen to is real. And so, yes, just want to say that I'm glad that you're doing the show, and I'm friends with Jolene, and I do love America. I really do. Keep going gung-ho, guys, with the show. We got your back.
917society.com, led by Joni Bryan from Nashville, funds the National Education Order 108447 in 1959 that declared Constitution Day in public schools, and that's something we sorely need. More than 1 million kids last year got a free copy of the Constitution, and this year's goal is 2 million kids. Imagine that. The Constitution in the hands of 2 million American kids. On September 17th, all public schools are to distribute and educate students on the Constitution of the United States. If you'd like to help out, 917, that's 917society.com, led by Joni Bryan of Nashville, Tennessee. And remember, the goal this year, 2 million copies of the Constitution in kids' hands. And you can help. Again, the website, 917society.com. Jesus said, "You do it unto the least of these, and it's as if you were doing it unto me." There are many hungry people in our communities. The Apison Food Bank feeds over 3,000 people every month, and they could use your prayers. In these troubling times, the number of clients they are serving is increasing. You can make a donation today. Go online to ApisonBaptist.com. ApisonBaptist.com. Food drives, prayers, financial donations, all help. They have rented 2 old grocery stores. They're open 7 days a week for donations, and they distribute every Monday and Friday. The motto at Apison Baptist Church is taking Jesus as he is to people as they are. And you can get involved and help feed the hungry. Go to the website, ApisonBaptist.com. You know, there is someone hungry in your world tonight. So as you're seated tonight at your dinner table, enjoying the mashed potato and steak off the barbecue grill, remember that there are many people in our communities, in our world, that are not as fortunate as you are. So please consider donating your time, funds, and food to your local food bank or food pantry. And as you enjoy the barbecue tonight, please remember them. Check on the widows, elderly, and the orphans as well. You can donate in the Appleton, Tennessee area to Appleton Baptist Church. They have a food pantry there that would love your support. And there are many food pantries all over America. We need to feed this nation in more ways than one. But one way that we can literally feed them is with food. Get involved and make a difference.
Welcome back, friend. Got a couple of clips here for you. See what you think. This is one of the CNN, the liberals, and getting ready for the debate.
Fake, disgusting news.
I just want to play something of how the former president claims he's been preparing for the debates.
I'm preparing by taking questions from you and others. If you think about it, we had a great meeting just now in Philadelphia with the at the shop. You saw that with all the wonderful people. We just left Faith and Freedom in D.C., and that was incredible. So, but I'm preparing by dealing with you. You're tougher than all of them.
I mean, Michael, I don't think that's true. But if that is true, I mean, that's a gift to the Biden administration, obviously, because the softballs he gets from, you know, people at set-up events are obvious. The softballs he gets from, you know, people at set-up events are obvious.
You have some nerve.
You have, over the years, over your career, you've really spent a great deal of time at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, except now you're living there and you're president. It's been 4 weeks. What's it like? How's it different?
It's Joe Biden now.
I get up in the morning and look at Jill and say, where the hell are we?
So that's the thing. Do you believe Donald Trump gets softball questions? I don't, and I don't think he's going to get them tonight. I really think they're going to come after him. And this is Alex Wegner. She is MSNBC News, very liberal, and she's asking if Biden's even alive. Alex Wagner.
I do have to ask, though, I mean, this is all thrown into sharp relief when the two men are on stage debating, right? And it already feels like, you know, the first presidential debate is set for June 27th. It already feels like the bar that is set for Biden to clear is so much substantially higher than the one Trump has to clear, which is literally, is he alive? Is he standing? Are the words coming out of his mouth? Setting aside what the words actually are.
Is he alive? Is he standing? Are the words actually coming out of his mouth? This is an MSNBC person. I mean, there are different levels of lip lock liberal. You know, you've got your CNN, if you're going upward, and then you got your NBC. Your MSNBC is now the lip lock liberal capital. I mean, they're even more liberal, I think, than The View. Did you hear what she said? Let's listen again. This is very, very interesting.
Debate is set for June 27th. It already feels like the bar that is set for Biden to clear is so much more substantially.
The bar that Biden has to clear, it's running track term, clearing the bar. Did you hear what she said? She's acting like he can't compete.
Clear is so much substantially higher than the one Trump has to clear, which is literally, is he alive? Is he standing? Are the words coming out of his mouth?
Is he alive? Is he standing? Are the words actually coming out of his mouth? Now, Alex is saying this on her show on MSNBC, and she's worried about the upcoming debate.
Has to clear, which is literally, is he alive? Is he standing? Are the words coming out of his mouth? Is he alive? Is he standing? Are the words coming out of his mouth? Is he alive? Is he standing? Are the words coming out of his mouth? Setting aside what the words actually are. And I wonder if there's any way for Biden to overcome what seems like a structural disadvantage on, in the weeks leading up to what's going to be a pretty important inflection point in this campaign.
Wow. when MSNBC gives up on one of their own. Again, this is Van Jones from CNN saying he thinks it's all on the line tonight.
And Van, how big of a moment is this for the president?
This is the entire election as far as I'm concerned. The entire world will be watching. If you are a carbon-based life form, you're going to be watching. If you've got a functioning brainstem, you're going to be watching. Because if Biden goes out there and messes up, it's game over. Messes up, it's game over. It's game over. It's game over. If he walks out there and a week later he's lower in the polls, it's panic in the party. But if he goes in there and he can handle himself against Donald Trump, a runaway train, a locomotive, a raging bull, then this guy deserves another shot to be president, because that is tough. You couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. If you can stand toe-to-toe with a runaway train like Donald Trump for an hour and a half, you are fit to be president, period, point blank. This is the whole presidency in a bottle in a week.
If you can stand toe-to-toe against a runaway train, Donald Trump, you deserve to be president. Now think about that. That is a huge compliment to Donald Trump. Meaning he is the boss. He says, you couldn't do it, I couldn't do it. He's saying to other people on the panel. And then he also used the term panic in the party. Meaning the Democrat Party's kind of panicking right now. You had Joe Manchin check out just a few weeks ago, said, I'm an independent now, and I'm not running again. Well, why didn't he stay a Democrat through the end of this? I mean, it's just through December. But he felt a need to jump ship these last 5 months of the year. Why? Kristen Sinema jumped ship last year, the Arizona senator, and she's not running for re-election, but she declared a year ago she's an independent. Tulsi Gabbard left the party. Elon Musk, who's always voted Democrat, said, I will be voting GOP. He goes, I won't endorse a candidate, but I will be voting for whoever is the GOP candidate. What's going on in the Democratic Party? And you just got to wonder that there seems to be concern. And I'll play this one too. This was, again, CNN. They had a guest on, and they were panicking pretty much about the border and the bad moves that Biden's made thus till now that's probably going to cost him.
Biden do this on his first day in office, as opposed to doing it today here in the shadow of a presidential campaign. Why didn't he do this on day one? Why didn't he do last week's executive order on day one? Why did he cancel all of Trump's immigration orders?
Now, think about that.
Why did he cancel all of Trump's immigration orders?
People are tired of chaos, and they believe the chaos has been caused by Joe Biden, the way he's handled this for the last 3.5 years. The polling is clear. By the way, politically, I don't think the American people are in a pro-amnesty mood right now. You look at what Trump is proposing, there's a lot of polling that shows majority support for what Trump is saying, including among Hispanics in the United States of America.
And that seems to be true. That's why this theme song
Why do
is
people
so
still
popular.
read books to get smarter? Turns out now.
People like, and it's, you may have heard it. Have you heard this song? It's called Hold On, I'm Coming. Meaning that Trump's on his way. I think he's going to make a big splash in November. You may not agree, but I believe he's up in the Hispanic vote. He's up in the black vote. He's up in the Asian American vote, the Arab American vote. He's increased all the levels. He's been increasing. It's going to be interesting to see. This is the Macil Duncan Show. We'll be back after the break.
Ken has always had a soft spot in my heart, and she was the baby to me.
All I remember seeing is us running down court, and Candace, when I looked over, she was in a tussle with one of the Detroit players, and she was on the bottom. That's what I saw, and in that's my teammate. And I was on my way to get whomever off of her to get her off the floor. Somehow in the moment of like running one way and then in the direction of me turning around, I never saw the coach, Rick Mahorn, who is 6'6", 6'7". He pushed me while I was on my way back to looking, focused at Candace on the ground and Detroit player on top. I was running over there to get her, and he pushed me, literally pushed me so hard that I was off both my feet, and I landed somewhere back from where I was starting from the run. Why would this man put his hands on me? I will never understand that day. Why I didn't have a lawsuit against the WNBA and him personally, I have no idea why I listened to other people, because it was just simply wrong.
This is Lisa Leslie recounting when her teammate Candace Parker was being jumped by Detroit players. She was on the ground, and several folks were giving her evidently some rough treatment. And she was pretty upset, so it's pretty interesting. And she's a big Candace Clark fan, by the way. Just thought I'd bring that up.
Hello, Macil Duncan. You're a great friend. We love listening to your show every day as we're working, going down the road. And I want to promise all you people as a long-term friend when we were just kids that Macil is for real. And I'm from Ray County, Tennessee, and so I listen most of the time.
We are growing better together all the time. Those are the words of Dr. Steve Ball of Metro Tabernacle Church in Chattanooga, Tennessee. One of the ways that they grow is with life groups. It's very important for you to get connected in a small group so you can develop relationships and hold each other accountable. Dr. Ball says they believe that Metro Tab is growing larger and smaller at the same time. Life groups are an important part in developing relationships with others who share your interests and are dealing with similar life issues. Why don't you get connected? Check out life groups and the many other offerings at Metro Tabernacle Church in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They want to be involved in your life. The address is 2101 West Shepherd Road, just off Highway 153 at the airport exit. Have you ever walked by a gravesite and wondered about the person buried there? What is their story? What did they look like? Were they loved? At myforevermemories.com, based in Chattanooga, we want to help keep the memories alive. We thought of something called a memories box. It's a 6x7 by 2-inch transparent container that you put on a gravesite, and in that you can put cards, pictures, handwritten notes, notes to the departed loved one. It's all about keeping the memories alive. So many good people have gone before us, and we need to keep their memories alive. My Forever Memories supports WVMG Radio, Destiny Life Media, and the Macil Duncan Radio Show. Let us not forget those who have gone before us, those who have spoken into our lives, those who have mentored us, those who have loved us, and those who have spoken great words when we needed to hear them. Well, the words aren't being spoken now, but they were in the past, and they have made an impression on our lives. We should remember those who have gone before us. That is one of the founding principles of myforevermemories.com. Website, myforevermemories.com. Join us in remembering those, and we have ways to do that. We support WVMG Radio, Destiny Life Radio, and the outreach of this radio station. And let us not forget those who have gone before us. There are so many ways to remember them. Join us in remembering them at myforevermemories.com.
Let's get ready to rumble!
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to.
Y'all ready for this?
Anyway, from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa. Of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put the idea that for two reasons. One, we haven't been able to communicate it in a way that is, let me say another way. But the nature, not a solid meeting they make a very good point. Here's the deal.
So a lot of folks are getting ready for this debate tonight, and that little clip's called Let's Get Ready to Mumble. And as I mentioned earlier, you can literally go to Vegas and online place bets how many times Biden will have gaffes, etc. You can even vote whether he falls asleep during the debate. Never before in a presidential debate has Vegas had these outrageous things. But, you know, just like in the NFL, the Super Bowl, you can vote on the coin toss. You can vote on who throws the most interceptions. But there's some crazy things in those votings, but never in a presidential debate. Well, here's CBN News on their take of the showdown tonight.
It's never happened before in American history. A sitting president facing his predecessor on the debate stage in the race for the White House.
President Biden and former President Trump square off tonight in Atlanta. High expectations and new debate rules increase the pressure. CBN's Brody Carter reports.
For the first time in U.S. history, a sitting president and a former president will go head-to-head in a presidential debate. It's also the earliest debate in modern history, well ahead of the traditional fall schedule.
No, sir.
With $1 billion, if you
that is absolutely not true.
You're going to have
true.
Gentlemen.
There's also a new set of rules to avoid chaotic scenes from the past. CBN's George Thomas explains from Atlanta.
The debate happening here at CNN in downtown Atlanta will look and sound very different from previous debates. The primetime studio event will have no live audience, no opening statements, and the most unique rule, each candidate's microphone will be turned off unless he is directed to speak.
And the other rule he does not mention is no notes allowed or teleprompters. It's interesting to see how this debate will go. But Blaze Media put out the flashback. CNN operatives have always helped the Democrats when it comes to debates. So Thursday debate moderator has compared Trump with Hitler and called his presidency a national nightmare. So at 9 p.m. Tonight, CNN will host the first presidential debate for the 2024 election. Since Donald Trump chose not to debate any of his opponents and Biden would not allow a challenger, this is the first debate either one of them have had in a while. So their debate in 2020 kind of went contentious, according to many people's opinion. And Thursday promises to be no different. The network hosting the debate, CNN, will likely play a significant role as well. If past presidential debates of CNN have any indication, the network will likely run interference for Biden. They'll throw him softball questions while being tougher on Donald Trump. Here are three notable moments in which CNN operatives apparently assisted certain Democratic candidates. Candy Crowley saves Obama from himself. If you remember the debate, and she ended up being proven wrong, but she interrupted Mitt Romney when he talked about Islamic terrorists, and she did a supposedly fact-checked, and then, of course, Obama said thank you. It came out the next day, which was too late. Mitt Romney was right. And Obama even then cheered on his teammate, "Can you say that again a little louder, Candy?" And she repeated that. Donna Brazile feeds Hillary Clinton debate questions. I thought that was interesting. Donna Brazile, who has bounced back and forth between Democrat campaign work and newsroom punditry for decades, was a powerful figure in the 2016 political landscape. By that point, Brazile had been making regular appearances on CNN as a Democratic strategist for years. She had also spent years at DNC leadership roles. So when DNC chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz abruptly resigned because, remember her scandal, the DNC position in July 2016 following the explosive news from Julian Assange WikiLeaks that the DNC had rigged the Democratic primary for Hillary Clinton and stole it from Bernie Sanders, Brazile immediately stepped in as the interim DNC chair, even as she continued her contributor position at CNN. She gave the questions to Hillary Clinton to the upcoming debate so Hillary would have an advantage over Donald Trump. Chris Wallace, this is the third one, blocks Trump from asking Biden about his son Hunter. And this was a huge blow because the world was not aware of all the Biden scandals. And now, if this had been the other way, it would have been on like Donkey Kong. And, of course, what happened to Chris Wallace, much like what happened to Megyn Kelly. A lot of these folks that pretend to be conservatives and then you go after the GOP candidate, you tend to lose your job. So that's, I guess, a little poetic justice in this. CNN has a track record of being not the most honest, and they do lean, so it's going to be interesting. Well, the Daily Wire put out this: if Biden loses debate, can he be replaced? Because a lot of talk has been about that. If President Biden is viewed as the loser of Thursday night's presidential debate against former President Donald Trump, it may accelerate months-long speculations that he could be replaced as the Democrat presidential nominee for 2024. Back in mid-February, New York Magazine considered the possibility of replacing the elderly 81-year-old as the nominee. From a political perspective, the idea that Biden might be dumped from the ticket is extremely far-fetched, the New York Magazine wrote, but technically it is possible, though increasingly complicated right up to the election day. Hello. ABC News pointed out 2 types of delegates existed in the Democratic Party. Pledged delegates, who are allotted to candidates based on the votes in the state primaries, but while assumed to be loyal to that candidate, are not legally required to support the candidate. And then there are super delegates, I've talked about this before with you, who become delegates from their jobs, whether they are DNC members or political office holders. Those delegates, too, are not legally bound by any candidate. In most states, delegates are released from their obligations if the candidate withdraws from the race, according to New York Magazine. So The Hill then reported the Democrat senators are insisting that speculation Biden could be replaced is nonsense. One senator told The Hill, "There's no way in hell that's true. Not a chance. I don't know what to say." A Democrat consultant added, "If people mention that, if it's talked about in settings, even if somebody says we need to have an alternative, it's not really taken as something that could seriously happen because it could cost you your political future. Do we have a backup? Something like that? Because honestly, Vice President Kamala Harris is not really seen as a prime-time player at this time." Now, here's something interesting if you like fact checks. The last time an incumbent president was denied his party nomination occurred in 1884 when the GOP Chester Arthur lost the nomination to his Secretary of State James G. Blaine. Blaine narrowly lost the election to Democrat Grover Cleveland. That's new history for me. So the New York Magazine went on to say the nominee would be voluntary. If Biden steps down, it makes it easier. If he will not step down and they have to forcibly vote him out, that's where it gets ugly. So it's possible. And it says right up to the election. Meaning, I don't know how you get him on the ballot, though. See, the ballots are printed so many weeks in advance. That's been my question. How would you take Biden off the ticket if he's on the ballot? Interesting, is it not? I'll be back after the break.
Hi, my name is Beverly Reynolds. I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I just wanted to let you know that I feel it's important to have the Macil Duncan radio show. I listen to him and support him completely because he tells the truth that we don't hear on mainstream media concerning local, state, national, world happenings. He talks about our nation that was formed as one nation under God with the inclusion of individuals' God-given rights. He speaks about God, our creator. He talks about our Constitution that guarantees those rights, and the people need to get involved in their freedom, liberty, and regaining and retaining and protecting their constitutional rights. So I believe everyone should hear his show. They should get involved, whether it's physical, it's prayer, whatever. They need to get involved and pay attention to what's going on, and he's putting that word out there. He's a true Christian patriot, and I wish all Americans could hear his show. Thank you. My phone number is 423-305-59.
Jesus Christ to roar. That is one of the core principles of Metro Tabernacle Church in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Their mission is to restore the roar in the body of Christ by establishing a foundation of faith in the Word of God through the power and demonstration of His Holy Spirit. They will reclaim the original intent of God for the church through training, equipping, releasing believers, and raising up leaders who will carry the roar of the Lion of the tribe of Judah to build strong local churches. And we all need that. You can find out more information by going to their website, myroar.org. Metro Tabernacle Church is located at 2101 West Shepherd Road, the airport exit off of Highway 153 in Chattanooga. Let's roar. It is time for Christians to roar, to make a difference in the community. That is the belief of Metro Tabernacle Church and Dr. Steve Ball. They have the School of Roar. The School of Roar is hosting a summer 2024 The Prophetic. Classes open to everyone, and registration is free. Do you want to learn how to work more in the prophetic? Attend one of the class schedules. Registration deadline June 2nd. There will be a class Tuesday, June 18th at 6:30 p.m. and one again July 16th at 6:30 p.m. You can register at the website metrotab.net or myroar.org. That is myroar.org. It is time for the church to roar. 917society.com, led by Joni Bryan from Nashville, funds the National Education Order 108447 in 1959 that declared Constitution Day in public schools, and that's something we sorely need. More than 1 million kids last year got a free copy of the Constitution, and this year's goal is 2 million kids. Imagine that. The Constitution in the hands of 2 million American kids. On September 17th, all public schools are to distribute and educate students on the Constitution of the United States. If you'd like to help out, 917, that's 917society.com, led by Joni Bryan of Nashville, Tennessee. And remember, the goal this year, 2 million copies of the Constitution in kids' hands. And you can help. Again, the website, 917society.com.
Welcome back, my friends. This is Macil Duncan, and welcome back to the Macil Duncan Show here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, broadcast live on the 96.9 FM. It is a pleasure to be there. Also, USAHeartbeat.com, StreetLevelAmerica.com, MacilDuncanRadio.com that has me on multiple platforms. Thank you guys for listening, liking, and sharing the show. We talked about this a little yesterday. Representative Luna from Florida to hold Merrick Garland in inherent contempt. See what you think.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna wants to see Attorney General Merrick Garland arrested and put on trial. Garland was held in contempt of Congress for failing to hand over the audio recording of President Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur. But the Department of Justice declined to prosecute Garland.
Well, Luna, can we ask you a quick question?
Now, Luna says she'll bring forward an inherent contempt resolution. That's when Congress arrests the accused person on its own rather than relying on the Justice Department to bring charges. If Garland were held in inherent contempt, the House Sergeant-at-Arms would be instructed to arrest him and bring him to the House floor for questioning and a committee investigation. It can lead to incarceration. Luna says she's going to bring the motion up for a vote this week. According to a statement from Luna, Attorney General Garland is calling moderate Republicans and encouraging them to vote against it. She added, "This is the very definition of corruption. He believes he is above the law and can tell elected members of Congress what to do. My message to Garland is straightforward. Release the tapes to Congress and let us listen to them."
So here's the deal. Luna is saying they've held him in contempt. He has completely ignored Congress, the very thing they're putting Steve Bannon in prison for. Bannon reports to prison July 1st. He would not adhere to the subpoena. Neither would Hunter Biden, back member. He actually did a press conference on the Senate steps to defy Congress. So it's interesting how others, if you're a Democrat, you get away with it, but if you're a Republican, you go to jail. But here's the kicker. Think with me. What if Joe Biden does so poorly tonight, his dementia is so obvious, they can't cover for him? Does Merrick Garland come to Congress tomorrow? I mean, think timing. Does he show up tomorrow and gives them the Hur tapes and allow them to be heard by Congress? They get leaked to the media, and Joe Biden is seen as the dementia bubbling idiot that many think he is. And then, do the Democrats use that to force Biden into resignation and bring in Team B? Don't know. But Anna Pauline was asked point blank, would the Sergeant of Arms do his job? Because Tim Cast, I like his podcast, and others have got doubts. Will the Sergeant of Arms carry out this? Because think about it. If you go over and arrest the Attorney General and tick him off, he could turn around, maybe have your house searched or mess with your family. But here is how she answered the question. Well, the sound is not working on that one, dudes. Anna Pauline was asked the point-blank question, if the Sergeant of Arms capable of taking Garland into custody. And it seems that way, on paper, if you will. But can she literally do that? That's going to be the interesting question. So I think a lot of folks are wondering. Now, this is Marsha Blackburn running for for Senate again. I like her. Here we go. They're blocking this video, guys. I don't know why. So we'll just have to just leave it at that. But interesting enough, Luna has been asked if the Sergeant at Arms would carry out the request of the Congress, and it is an interesting thing. A couple of things that don't deal with the debate. See what you guys think of this. BP Oil halts offshore wind projects.
While many global energy companies push toward renewables, BP is slowing down its green energy efforts and reinvigorating its focus on oil and gas. Under pressure from investors, the oil giant's new CEO, Murray Auchincloss, announced a pause on all new offshore wind projects and a company-wide hiring freeze as it renews its emphasis on fossil fuels.
Hello. Who's the one that's known for saying drill, baby, drill? Donald Trump. Is this a sign that Donald Trump is going to win? Why would they stop? BP said they're stopping their green energy, renewable energy, and they're focusing back on fossil fuels. Is that not interesting? I think that's possibly what people are seeing in the polls. They're sensing, hey, here's another.
An ISIS-affiliated human smuggling network brought more than 400 immigrants from Central Asia to America, government officials told NBC News. And now more than 50 of them are at large in the U.S., their whereabouts unknown.
So 400 migrants that now have been identified as ISIS, a part of now an ISIS-affiliated worldwide network. 400 have been smuggled into America, and 50 are still at large. Biden's got a lot to answer for. And I think tonight at the debate, we're going to see some of that. I don't know what you guys think, but it seems that way to me. So as we get ready for that, 9 o'clock tonight, I don't know what you'll be doing. Of course, that's Eastern Standard Time, depending on what part of the country you're in. We got some California listeners, Harmony and my friends out and Joanne out in California. Pastor, salute to you, because they're like 4 hours behind us, right? You guys, I don't know how you guys do. If you do it, watch it later. But I'm going to be interested to see, because CNN has promised that if anybody tries to live stream the debate, they're going to try to make sure you cut it off. And as I mentioned, the Supreme Court just ruled, interesting enough, 6-3, that the government should be able to help or have their hand on social media still. I thought that was a poor ruling. Again, Justice Alito and Clarence Thomas, our most strongest conservatives, led the dissent in that 3-6 ruling. Roberts, he's a flip-flopper, and Gorsuch, sometimes you don't know where he's going to be, and just different ones. You're just going, man, if you guys would stick together more. But maybe they're doing that so when they rule on the Donald Trump immunity, you've noticed they've waited on that one until after this debate. They probably don't want this to become a talking point right when it drops. But many feel, because June is when they released their rulings. For some reason, they're waiting. Many think tomorrow or between now and Sunday, they're going to release their ruling on presidential immunity. I think that's going to be interesting to see how the court rules on that. Because if presidents can be held accountable for decisions they have to make on the split second, like Obama did a drone strike and killed some innocent people. I don't think he did it maliciously. I know there's others that think he did. I think he just either got bad intel or it was just mistakes are made. And president, if you've got the pressure of all that's going on there, that means anybody can sue you. I mean, do you remember the lady that sued McDonald's because she spilled coffee in her lap? You're at a drive-through. They tell you be careful, but because you spilled the coffee, she sued and she got a big settlement. And you're going, wow. So sometimes the court system blows me away. Sometimes some of their decisions. I'm amazed. I know you guys are too. But anyway, Paris Hilton's upset. Now, when movie stars get upset, I get tickled. But one thing she's upset about is she wants advocates to press for more oversight of abuse in the foster care system. Now, isn't this interesting for a liberal to come out and say this? And again, it's right before the presidential election.
An alarming new report shows many states are not keeping track of reports of mistreatment at foster care facilities. The report, released Wednesday by the Department of Health and Human Services Inspector General, shows these facilities are not tracking incidences of abuse, sexual abuse, or children being improperly restrained. Investigators found about 1/3 of states don't track when multiple abuses happen at a single facility or across facilities owned by the same company.
And Paris Hilton goes on later to talk about this. But this is the Democratic senator from California excoriating her own party, protecting pedophiles. Listen to this minute of good. She just goes after them.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I'd like to say, as a progressive, proud member of this body for the last 12 years, as a proud member, as a progressive, proud member of this body for the last 12 years, I'm done. I'm done with us protecting people who would buy and abuse our children. I'm done. I don't want to send more black and brown men to prison. I don't want more people in prison, but I don't want people buying girls. I don't want people buying little girls anymore. And I'm tired of saying it's okay and that we have to protect the men who do it. As a mental health professional and as a social worker, I can tell you I've spent my entire career working with people who have been wounded. I'm not going to say beyond repair, but they have been wounded to their core by the abuse that's been heaped on them, oftentimes by those that they love and look to protect them.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So Paris Hilton comes out, this senator. The Democrats and liberals are getting a conscience about sex trafficking and pedophilia. Interesting.
Hello, my name's Dave. I'm a Vietnam veteran and live in North Georgia, not far from East Ridge, Tennessee. I like listening to Patriot Pastor Macil Duncan. He keeps up with fast-moving news, which keeps me on the cutting edge of information that we all need to know. I like the music and stories he has. I like that he helps the homeless folk, and we could all help with that. I love God, and America is my country. Thank you for all that you do. Goodbye.
Jesus said, "You do it unto the least of these, and it's as if you were doing it unto me." There are many hungry people in our communities. The Apison Food Bank feeds over 3,000 people every month, and they could use your prayers. In these troubling times, the number of clients they are serving is increasing. You can make a donation today. Go online to ApisonBaptist.com. ApisonBaptist.com. Food drives, prayers, financial donations, all help. They have rented 2 old grocery stores. They're open 7 days a week for donations, and they distribute every Monday and Friday. The motto at Apison Baptist Church is taking Jesus as he is to people as they are. And you can get involved and help feed the hungry. Go to the website, ApisonBaptist.com. You know, there is someone hungry in your world tonight. So as you're seated tonight at your dinner table, enjoying the mashed potato and steak off the barbecue grill, remember that there are many people in our communities, in our world, that are not as fortunate as you are. So please consider donating your time, funds, and food to your local food bank or food pantry. And as you enjoy the barbecue tonight, please remember them. Check on the widows, elderly, and the orphans as well. You can donate in the Appleton, Tennessee area to Appleton Baptist Church. They have a food pantry there that would love your support. And there are many food pantries all over America. We need to feed this nation in more ways than one, but one way that we can literally feed them is with food. Get involved and make a difference. Do you love God and do you love America? If you do, you're going to love this radio show, the Macil Duncan Radio Show, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. right here at Destiny Life Media 96.9 FM. You can also hear the show live and archives of the show at streetlevelamerica.com and usaheartbeat.com. Also hear it at macilduncanradio.com, Rumble, X, Truth Social, Facebook, and more. And we're working on growing the show nationwide. The Patriot Pastor of Appleton Baptist Church, he is Macil Duncan on the Macil Duncan Radio Show.
It's a positive.
A quick question. Yes, sure. What has Joe Biden done for you lately? Just a question. What has he done lately?
I don't really know much about the whole politic thing, so I'm probably the worst person to ask.
No, it's not good. It's just a random question that we're asking. Would you let him watch your kids, though?
God, no.
Ah, no. That's what we were looking for right there. That's
absolutely not.
So this is Mike
like
Johnson.
Many, I look forward to hearing Donald Trump lay out his vision for the country. It's a positive vision. It's a forward vision. He is excited. I talked to him, spent a lot of time with him last week down in Mar-a-Lago, and then on the phone over the weekend, and he's in a very good place. And I expect that you're going to see a sharp contrast between President Trump's positive agenda and Joe Biden's proven weakness. And I did a lot of media over the last several days, and everybody wants to know which Joe Biden's going to show up. And look, my summary is this: it doesn't matter if he drinks a whole gallon of energy drinks; he's not going to be able to match the acumen and the readiness of Donald Trump.
On Trump or
like
Joe Biden?
Many, I look forward to
Donald
hearing
Trump.
Donald Trump lay out his
So why so?
Joe Biden is there present. He's present in the flesh, but he's not all the way there.
Do you think Joe Biden's going to have to be medicated in order to withstand the debate?
Even with medication, he's not really that coherent. So I think he's going to be there smiling like he always is.
What could Joe Biden say or Donald Trump do to win the vote of the people here in America?
To be honest, there's nothing either one of them could say, because hands down, I pretty much think Donald Trump has already got America behind him, because Joe Biden really hasn't been doing much within the last 4 years.
If you could ask Joe Biden one question, what would your question be?
Why are you running?
The debate.
This is how to get in shape in 7 minutes.
So these are where people on the street ask why they would vote for Biden or Trump, and so far all are voting for Trump.
On Trump or Joe Biden?
I'm going to have to go with Joe Biden.
Why so?
I feel like he gives more opportunity to the people with low income, all of the above.
So you're for Joe Biden. What could Donald Trump say in the debate to potentially sway you to like Donald Trump a little bit more and eventually vote for him?
Stimulus check. Stimulus check. He did it before. So yeah, a lot of people, I know a lot of people has been saying, different stuff, how they appreciate him for when they was in time of need, when everything shut down, he provided.
Stimulus check. So a lady that's obviously a registered Democrat by her outfit said stimulus check is how Trump could win her vote. So it's going to be interesting. Don't know what you're thinking is going to happen tonight at the debate. A lot of folks have a lot of opinions, and it could go either way. I think a lot of folks are expecting it to be a little bit on the excitement side, kind of like I've been playing.
Let's get ready to rumble!
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to.
Y'all ready for this?
Anyway, from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa. Of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word: to put him, put the idea that.
So Joe Biden's got a, this is called Let's Get Ready to Mumble, if you want to go find it on YouTube. So I think there's a lot of folks that are just not expecting much from the current president. And, that's kind of sad. It's kind of sad that he's become this, his expectation levels are very low. So it's something. So there's a couple other things to talk about besides the debate and beside Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Did you know if you're depressed or anxious, it could be your bedtime that could be the reason why?
The saying goes, early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Well, it might not make you wealthy, but it turns out going to bed early is a wise move for your health, specifically your mental health. A new study found those who regularly went to bed after 1 a.m. were more likely to experience mental health disorders like depression or anxiety. And it doesn't matter if you consider yourself a night owl. The study found night owls who go to bed after 1 a.m. and sleep in later are actually the most likely to notice the mental health impacts. One of the study's authors said it could be linked to a theory called mind after midnight.
So what about you, America? Are you an early riser? You go to bed early? That is an interesting rhyme. I remember as a kid, early bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Of course, in this day of gender confusion, that may be an offensive statement. You never know. This lady asked a good question. Do taxpayers' money need to pay for new stadiums when these sports teams make zillions of dollars?
Taxpayer-funded sports stadiums, deal or no deal? In 2 days this week, 2 cities committed nearly $1.5 billion in public money to keep their NFL teams in town. But did taxpayers get a say? In both Charlotte and Jacksonville, city councils made the calls. Charlotte committed $650 million in taxpayer dollars for stadium renovations to keep the Panthers in town for the next 20 years, while Jacksonville City Council is giving $775 million in public funds to renovate the Jaguars' Everbank Stadium. That's in exchange for a 30-year commitment to squash those pervasive relocation rumors.
So, I don't know what you think. Now, the Chattanooga Lookouts are getting a new stadium here in Chattanooga. I don't know if tax funds, I haven't dug into that. It's interesting. Because you want to lure, it's nice to have sports teams in your community. What if Charlotte could lure in an NBA team or a WNBA team? At this point, I'd rather have WNBA, see Caitlin Clark come play. I'd get season tickets to go watch her play 2 or 3 times a year. It's just interesting. I remember when I was a freshman at UTC, they had just opened the Roundhouse, which is now, decades old, because that tells my year. But I remember when Dominique Wilkins' brother, Gerald Wilkins, am I waking any bells up here in Chattanooga? Do you remember he was the point guard? And he was like 6'7", unreal. And he could dunk and thunder dunk and do all that stuff. But I remember going to the Roundhouse when it opened. And that was a big deal. So sometimes when new gymnasiums or stadiums are open, it can be a great thing. But sometimes it can be a bummer. I remember I went to Red Bank High School. I've told you up before. But starting in junior high, they said, we're going to build a new football stadium. And so we always did fundraisers. So from the 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, I collected the newspaper for the paper drives. I sold candy bars, Krispy Kreme donuts. We did all, and then Lamar Alexander walked through. I walked with Lamar, and he came in for about 10 minutes and looked like he was helping us paint the old stadium at the old campus. And right up to my junior year, and they're saying, we're going to have a new stadium. You guys need to help us raise money for next year, your senior year. I did it. I raised money, and they didn't build that sucker till after I graduated. So for 6 years, I did blood, sweat, and tears, if you will, for that new stadium you kids enjoy over at Red Bank. But my point is, sometimes things just don't always look fair, don't look honest, what have you. Now, not that Redbank did anything bad. It just was timing and stuff. But should taxpayer money be spent on things such as that? I'm kind of caught in the middle. I think it's nice to bring a brand or something nice to your community, but on the flip side, you also want to be responsible with that information and stuff. Well, going back to the debate tonight, Frank Luntz, who he's been exposed, he's a very left-leaning liberal. He used to try to sell himself as the conservative pollster, and it came out he's not voted conservative in his life. He's been a left-leaning, lip-lock liberal. But anyway, so he's now on CNN explaining the Biden and Trump face-off in CNN's presidential debate.
And our voters said, wait a minute, he's holding her accountable. It's about time that politicians are held accountable.
This is going to start with a quick clip of the Trump-Hillary debate from years ago, and then it's going to throw into a CNN clip of Frank Luntz, who's a pollster, basically saying that pundits have it wrong as it pertains to Trump because they can't hide it much longer.
If I win, I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
What is it about these moments? What is it about those moments you think struck a chord and had such an impact? What does this represent?
Because nobody expected Donald Trump to say that. And the pundits really condemned him for doing it. And our voters said, wait a minute, he's holding her accountable. It's about time that politicians are held accountable. That's one of the great frustrations in America. That's why we're so angry, because we think politicians will say and do anything and then actually do exactly the opposite of what they promise.
Even if he would be, even if he's kind of suggesting would be like directing his Justice Department to go after a political opponent.
And that's exactly what the pundits said. And the voters said, he's actually going to do this. I want someone who's that tough, who's going to look me straight in the eye. And the opposite was Barack Obama. Looking people and saying, I get you, I understand you, I appreciate you, I applaud you. Voters are looking for someone to speak to them, to look at them, to mean what they say what they mean, and do what they promise to do.
Luntz should have turned to the camera and then been like, I'm not only the president of Hair Club for Men, I'm also a member. I mean, that is the worst toupee ever, dude. I know it's not about that, but are recognizing something. For all of the flaws with Trump and all of the things he says, and it's a little loose and he insults people. And by the way, he really has been wrangling that in. Like, we're not seeing the crazy attacks. I do sense, we addressed it yesterday in the post-game show, somebody asked me about it. There does seem to be a tightening of the message by Trump. I think he's seeing that himself, that it makes sense. And I think because the energy is going in his way, it makes it easier not to be firing all over the place all the time, right?
So that's the Rubin report, sharing those later comments. And I agree. Do you not agree that Donald Trump seems to be reining himself in? He's not as bombastic as he's been. And a new poll just came out. Former President Donald Trump appears to have an edge over President Joe Biden heading into the first presidential debate on Thursday. This is a poll that was released by the New York Times and Siena College yesterday. The survey was done June 20th through June 25th and found that 48% of voters said they would vote for President Trump if the election were held today, and only 42% would vote for Biden. That's a 6-point edge. But it also reports 10% said they don't know who they'd vote for, or they might refuse to vote and just not vote for anyone. Now, that's a two-person race poll. Other polls that have been taken with Trump, Biden, including Kennedy, Jill Stein, and some of the others, even though they don't have a snowball's chance of winning, it's like a protest vote. There's probably going to be a lot of Democrats that vote for Kennedy to send a message that we didn't want him as our candidate. I wouldn't be surprised if Kennedy doesn't rank in double digits, kind of like Ross Perot. When he ran the first time as the spoiler against Clinton and Bush. As a matter of fact, if it had not been for Ross Perot, Bush would have gotten a second term. A lot of folks believe. But because Ross Perot ran, he got 12%, if I'm not mistaken. Then he ran again the next 4 years. He only got 8 or 9, so he lost ground. But Bill Clinton would not have won if it had not been for Ross Perot. Bill Clinton did not win the majority vote technically either time, or the popular vote, if I'm not mistaken. So Bill Clinton and Ross Perot, wink, wink, hug, hug, don't know for sure. But that's back when two Democrats felt a need to work the Christian vote, if you will. If you remember, Bill Clinton and Al Gore were members of Southern Baptist churches. They would attend church right before voting time, and you would see them, etc. But that's the interesting new poll right now, according to New York Times, that Trump has an edge over Biden. So the state of the race headed into first ever pre-convention debate. This is the Daily Wire. It's a good point. Ahead of the first pre-convention debate, polls for the 2024 election generally show former President Donald Trump with an edge over Biden. CNN is hosting a debate in Atlanta on Thursday evening, weeks before the candidates will go to their respective parties 4 months before Election Day. Trump led Biden 46.6% to 45.1% on Wednesday, according to Real Clear Politics. So that only gives Trump a 1.4 lead in that poll. But the site's co-founder and president, Tom Bevins, said Trump's 1.5 percentage point advantage is the largest it has been in 3 months. That's according to their poll. There's a lot of polls that have Trump way out there. But some polls take into consideration independent candidate Robert Kennedy, Cornel West, the Green Party, Jill Stein, etc. So with the others thrown into the mix, Trump has 42.3, Biden drops to 39.7, Kennedy at 7.2, West with 1.4, and Stein with 1.3. So that is what I was talking about. The Real Clear Politics explains how Trump really doesn't get affected much. His base is solid. It's Biden that gets hurt when you bring Kennedy into the conversation. I think that's one reason they did not want Kennedy in this debate, because if Kennedy was in this debate, he would not just be a distraction. I think he would come across as a more conscious, even though he has the throat problem, I think Democrats would say, hey, he's technically a Democrat. Why don't we go with this guy? And for the life of me, I don't know why the Democrats just don't coalesce around Kennedy. And that may be a strategy down the line. If Biden pulls out, like they've said, Kennedy's already on the ballots. He's a Democrat. He's very left-leaning. He's not far left progressive, but he's still a liberal. He's very much into abortion, I think, right up to the 12th month. So he's for killing babies. Now, he's against Big Pharma. He's not a big vaxxer. He's got a few good qualities about him, but I don't like folks that vote to kill babies. That's where I draw the line. If I can possibly have a candidate that doesn't do that. But so anyway, that's interesting as the debate moves on to that level. I think it's going to be interesting as we move towards that. And as I told you, if you didn't hear already, Instagram said they accidentally changed all users' settings to limit political content ahead of Thursday's debate. So Instagram, it sounds like they're working with CNN. This is my theory on all this, because CNN has threatened that they're going to come down if anyone tries to live stream their debate. I think this is one time they don't want the world to see. I think they're very afraid of how bad Biden might do. And they're preparing for the clickbaits, the memes, etc. And I think they're going to try. You wait and see if Facebook, Instagram, and all them. That's why I've got now a Rumble channel, an X channel, locals.com. Type in MacilDuncanRadio.com and you'll find my other, because Facebook's, they're not fair. They cheat. They're dishonest. They're pretty much repugnant people. but you use what you got to use to get the message out. But anyway, that's why I'm on usheartbeat.com. If you want to catch any of my shows, you can go to Street Level America, streetlevelamerica.com. All my shows are on there, categorized. You can go and check any of the shows if you happen to miss one. And I want to also thank Alabama, SGM in Alabama, and the Freedom Network in New Jersey that also carry the show. We appreciate you guys. Pastor salute. So we're about ready to wrap up the show for today. My wife had a little, she tripped and hurt her foot. So I'm her Uber. So I'm going to have to skip out of here an hour early. We've got something planned for the last hour on 96.9 and the Alabama and the New Jersey network. But Street Level America, Heartbeat USA, and the MacilDuncan.com. It's a 2-hour show for you today. So I'm just going to wrap up by reminding you guys that this Sunday, if you'd like to come, we're having God and Country Day. I've got Senator Todd Gardenhire that will be coming, and he's a good friend of mine. He's helped me raise money for the pantry. Back in the pandemic, he helped me raise $30,000 when we did a Facebook Live fundraiser just in our auditorium with a few other folks. Senator Todd's a good guy. He's come several times after that to our banquets and helped us raise funds for the hungry. He also got me to the Senate. After COVID and they first opened up the Senate, I was the first pastor to do a prayer in Nashville in the Senate chambers to open up their first official proceeding when the restrictions were lifted. But he's a good guy. Also, I've got Marine Bobby Parker. Gunnery Sergeant Bobby Parker, he is a great guy. But he will tell you in his testimony Sunday, if you come to Appleton Baptist, he battled some addiction issues and some anger issues and such. And he's been overseas, defended this country, has a tremendous story, what you hear how he came to Christ. But now he's a very committed Christian. He's a great father and husband, has a great family, and they'll be joining him as well. So this Sunday, God and Country Day at Appleton Baptist Church, I've already had people, that's why I was responding, people asking about it because we've posted online and want to know when our service starts. It's at 10:30 a.m. This Sunday, June 30th, Appleton Baptist Church. If you need directions, just go to our website, www.appletonbaptist.com, A-P-I-S-O-N, appletonbaptist.com. And we have a thing you can click and it'll give you directions. Also, if you'd like to make a contribution to help us feed the hungry, you can go to the giving app there on the appletonbaptist.com. That's our website, and help us feed the hungry. We're feeding a little over 3,000 people a month, one time. We only count them one time. Some of them we feed multiple times because we're open Mondays and Fridays. We distribute food. Now, we're open 7 days a week, but the other 5 days are for stocking and doing food pickups. But we give out food 10 to 12 on Mondays, and then on Fridays we give out food 10 to 3. And I tell you the small miracle I get to witness all the time is we give out food at 10. And by 3 o'clock at the end of the day, Janet, our director, and I, and some of the other leaders, Mary and Julie and Judy and Linda and Jill and different ones, we look around and go, wow, the shelves are empty. How are we going to have food for the next week? And God provides. Thanks to generous givers like you and prayer warriors. Because for us to give out food as much as we do, last year we were recognized by the Chattanooga Food Bank as the third largest food distributor. And I thought, wow, that's great. She says, you don't understand. Out of 250, we help oversee the food distribution in North Georgia, Hamilton County, and Bradley County, which is Cleveland, Tennessee. 250. You guys were the third largest distributor of food in 2023. That made my heart jump. I said, man, that's a go God number. But it's because people like you that listen, you go and you give online generously. I've got a couple down in Florida. They've given thousands, probably close to 20,000, 30,000 to our church. Helped us feed the hungry. So if you'd like to go online at www.appletonbaptist.com, You can get directions to the church or give. And don't forget, it's 10:30 this Sunday. Senator Todd Gardenhire and Marine Bobby Parker will be my special guest. And it's going to be a wonderful service. Hope you guys can make it. God bless and Godspeed in Chattanooga here, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Talk to you later.